This week on One Day Leader, our leaders come face to face with the problem of drug abuse. Good afternoon, sanibonani nonke emakhaya, ngiphinde nginamukele ohlelweni labaholi benu bakusasa i-One Day Leader. Igama nginguPearl Wakashongwe. Last week, the leaders took their first strides into leadership and learned about the importance of truly getting to know and understand the people that they will be leading. Now, when one mentions the word Nyaope, a highly addictive drug which is made up of a combination of dacha, heroin, antiretroviral drugs, rat poison, and acid, many mixed emotions arise. Thousands of black families in different townships have felt its heavy blow as parents have watched helplessly as their children get caught up in the seemingly endless downward spiral. Nyaope has turned young people who were full of potential into virtual zombies that become a menace not to just their families but their society too, often chasing the next fix by any means necessary. This leads me to our topic today. Are we as a society doing enough to fight the scourge of Nyaope? Remember, Ninemakaya, you can join the conversation and even share your experiences by visiting our Facebook page, One Day Leader SA, to share your thoughts on our topic. Also visit our Twitter page at One Day Leader and hashtag One Day Leader 5. Now, our leaders are set in position to tackle this issue. Let's hear what their vision statements are. Anissa, your vision statement, please.
From the streets of Rwanda to a democratic South Africa, a leader's vision for social justice through education emerges. We can, we must, and we will ignite the spark. South Africa, I'm talking to you.
Thank you very much, Anissa. We're moving on to Sakile. Your vision statement, please.
From Umlazi to the stages of the SABC, I believe in an open opportunity society where it is not where you come from that determines how far you make it in life. South Africa, we need change, so be the change.
All right, moving on swiftly, Ritabile, your vision statement, please.
150 years ago was the Industrial Revolution, but today we live in a political revolution where young people are at the forefront. Why? Because it is something to be young, but it is everything to be young and woke. Hashtag we are woke.
Thank you very much, Ritabile. Sydney, it's your turn, your vision statement.
Let us work collectively at developing South Africa to be the utopia it rightfully is, where we drive regional and economic development by empowering young people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's South Africa of tomorrow, today.
Our last week's overall winner, Lebo, the spotlight is now on you.
South Africa deserves a strong-willed woman to drive economic development and to serve society with due diligence. If we can change our mindsets, we can change our lives.
Thank you very much. Our final leader, Itumeleng, it's your turn.
I imagine a South Africa of radical economic transformation as postulated in the Freedom Charter as a way of addressing the injustices of the past and to alleviate poverty. A South Africa that empowers young people to live their lives tantamount to the motto, hashtag I am too legit to quit, Amandla.
Strong visions coming through from our leaders. Let's hope they will follow through on their promises when they come face to face with this week's task challenge. Now, last week you at home voted for your favorite leader. Let's have a look at our scoreboard to see which leader got the highest viewer votes.
This week's viewer scoreboard has Itumeleng Mpofu leading the pack at 645 viewer votes and Anissa and Sakile at 121 votes each respectively. This means that Itumeleng Mpofu gets 1 point. Congratulations.
Now remember, at home, your votes do count. Let's take a look at how it will all work.
To vote for Anissa, SMS Leader 1 to 32672. For Sakile, SMS Leader 2. For Ritabile, SMS Leader 3. For Sydney, SMS Leader 4. To vote for Lebo, SMS Leader 5. And for Itumeleng, SMS Leader 6.
All right, this all sounds very exciting indeed. Do stay tuned to see how our leaders will handle it. Now, the Department of Social Development is the lead government department in the campaign against substance abuse. Amongst a lot of other work that they do pertaining to the policies and preventative education, they, in collaboration with the Department of Health, provide treatment centers at community and tertiary levels. As our guest judge today, we have the Honorable Deputy Minister of Social Development, Mam Henrietta Bohopane Zulu, all protocol observed. Deputy Minister, it's a pleasure to have you on One Day Leader. Allow me to ask, ma'am, with all the work that your department is putting in to fight the scourge of substance abuse, are you getting enough progressive support as well as interaction from various community leaders in the very communities that you're trying to assist?
Yes, we are. Of course, the issue of drugs is a challenging one, but we are getting a lot of support because our machinery to fight the scourge starts in communities. It actually starts in families. So it has to start in the families, it starts in communities. That is why we've got what we call the local action drug committees. They are actually established by young people as we see them today. They are established by community leaders, by whether it's men, women, young people. So any interested group in a community can establish a local action drug committee that we then train, support, and we are able to provide them with the necessary coordinating mechanisms for them to realize the dreams of a drug-free South Africa.
All right, thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Nizwele Mzansi, the Department of Social Development is getting assistance. Kodwa lokho akusho ukuthi manje khuthalani ukuze silwe lento le eyidakamizwa in our communities. Now, I welcome two of our resident judges, Catherine and Debogo. All right, judges, it's good to see you once again. Now, the scourge of Nyaope in our communities, it seems as if most people look at it like it's an individual problem. A lot of people don't want to maybe take on the responsibility of helping out. Do you think our leaders can help change mindsets?
The points that our Honourable Deputy Minister made is that it does start at home. We need to take responsibility both in our households as well as in our direct communities.
All right, thank you very much, Catherine. With that said, let's see what the leaders' task was for this week. Good morning, leaders. For your task today, you will be required to split yourselves up into two groups of 3. Each group will be responsible to appoint a task leader. Today you will meet Mbali, a 27-year-old mother to a 10-year-old girl. Mbali has been addicted to Nyaope for over a decade. On the destructive path that she is on, what would it take for her to mend the relationships that she treasures the most? Once again, you have until the close of business today to complete your task. And leaders, a tip from me, you're not here to save the world. You're dismissed.
Unokulunga wambhalela incwadi wamtshela nje ngako konke ukuthi yena uyafana nokuthi umuntu ongenamama ngoba akazamenzeli lutho ngapho uyabhema abangani bakhe bayamhleka.
Mbali is a 27-year-old mother to a 10-year-old daughter. Since her addiction to Nyaope, Mbali's family has been torn apart.
There was this guy, we became friends, mina naye, yena he's smoking Nyaope. Lo ngimcela yena bekangafuna ngitshela ukuthi lento le ayikho right and stuff yabo. Agcina lo kanginikeza ke. Ngaze ngajwayela ukuthi ngiyabhema vele nami.
It didn't take long for her addiction to kick in and ruin her life.
Umbali ukuthi eqala ukuthi engiphendule kabuhlungu maye ekhuluma nami. Uqale ngaso lesikhathi eseqala ukubhema. Mayethi ucela imali ngithi anginayo. Engiphendule nje ngendlela ayithandayo. Ubentshontshela usisi wakhe imali, emtshontshela nento zokugqoka edayisi. Bagcina sebengasazwani nosisi wakhe. Omakhelwane ke bakhona ke nje sikwazi ukuthi sixoxe nabo besho ukuthi ake uye la kuma social worker mhlamba ngakusiza. Unokulunga wambhalela incwadi wamtshela nje ngako konke ukuthi yena uyafana nokuthi umuntu ongenamama ngoba akazamenzeli lutho ngapho uyabhema abangani bakhe bayamhleka.
Ngalona I locked lo mnyango lo sekamereni while I was reading the letter, and then Isingvele ngixoxe any philisi elila endlini. Vele ngawaxoxa ngakhi. Ngawaphuza, maybe I drink about 12 the apples.
Nyaope is not just an individual's problem. It has a ripple effect that threatens the very core of our society. Without a level of support and compassion from key relationships in an addict's life, the chances of them relapsing are much, much higher. Masbuye Dolo, we will find out how the leaders tackle this issue. As Phyllis Namugele, one-day leader. Our topic today is, are we as a society doing enough to fight the scourge of Nyaope? In Alexandra Township alone, organizations such as Sanka see over 40 patients a week. And with the challenge of there not being enough rehab facilities, often addicts continue to roam the streets. Most of them commit petty crimes in order to feed their habit, and out of fear and frustration, community members often resort to mob justice in response to their belongings being stolen from them. But Mzansi, ngiyanbuza ukuthi, is this reality the answer? Or is there a better way of tackling this issue? Let's take a look at how our leaders intervened.
Yes, guys, we have to elect a task leader. It's going to be our task.
I think it's quite obvious.
Okay, I'll take it.
Let's go.
Rotabile is, compared to me and Itumeleng, she's fairly young. And I personally think that she has the potential to showcase the level of leadership that she has.
So I think the biggest part we need to look at is how far she's willing to sort of mend the relationships that she has. The question is, though, who are these people that she needs to mend those relationships with? Like, is it her daughter? Is it her mother? Best friend? What's going on? So I've divided everything into 3 parts. So what we have is intro and background. Intro to drugs, who introduced her to this world of drugs, and then background to see what kind of home she grew up into, because it might be sort of a dysfunctional family or something, so she needed an escape, and the answer was drugs. My first impression of Mbali was she is not as the typical drug addict that people sort of talk about. Like she doesn't have a ruined physique.
Bekangitshela the way afika ngakhona, the way akhumbula umama wakhe ngakhona, like the way we used to be together, like angicela ukuthi ngichange.
And after speaking to Mbali, Team A sat with her mother to find out if she contributes or enables Mbali's addiction or whether she offers support.
Ngabe wena now uyasebenzisa mhlawumbe uyaphuza or something along those lines?
Nakuyenzeka nje mangijabulile ke ngiphuza ibhi hayi ukuthi into yami.
So angeke ucabanga ukuthi mhlawumbe indaba le ukuthi agcine sakaphuza, mhlawumbe uyibone mhlawumbe kuyinto emnandi makayibona iyenzwa umama namaka bodade bakhe.
Uyibone kosisi bakhe.
So kulapha ebone khona. Akakutshontshela uMbali.
Mina akazangitshontshela ukwantshontshela usisi wakhe.
uMbali usitshela ukuthi uthola usizo khona manje. Uye waya kwadokotela, bamnikeza i-medication. Uyayithatha i-treatment yakhe yena.
Uyayithatha yena kodwa uphazamisa ukuthi kahle kahle la endlini. Angithi mawuzophuza amaphilisi kumele udle kuqala. Manje njoba mina le madlanyana engithola egrant ngisebenzise kunokulunga ngento zesikolo.
The team also took the time to sit down and talk to Mbali's daughter.
Wa ameha haholo ka ntho tse di tsala ka tlung. Ihlile wa bona hore o la ba emotional and re mmotsa gona mme wa hae le mme wa Mbali ba utlwana ho kae ka tlung. Ona sa rate ntho hore Mbali would have outbursts at her mom regarding money to sort of feed her habit.
Well, how do you guys feel about this task and like leading it? Like, who wants to spearhead this?
I'd like to lead this task.
All right.
Alisa Kimotolong Hore, she's very pro family relationships. whether it's about keeping them or instilling them or fixing them. So I think with this challenge, she'll lead us well in helping us to not deviate from the task.
Hello. Hey.
Bali, mina ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi like, what do you regret the most since uqala ukubhema mhlawumbe izinto sowazenza la endlini?
Ngitshontsha, especially siswami uye ngimtshontshela kakhulu. Mara asihlali naye la endlini.
Ngiyazwana nosisi.
Yena shibeka umuntu ongenankinga like until yena.
So after how it's caused separation between when and Len.
Yeah, we were not that close now, Karen.
When last did you speak to your sister?
Last December.
But la communicator, does she calls or visits and stuff like that? Does that happen?
Nope.
She doesn't really have a relation with her sister, but when we brought that up with her, she became very emotional about it.
And you'd want to fix that? Ukushintsha kwakho, you also ready ukuthi uhlangane with your family and abantu that obathandayo, I guess. Ngiyabonga ukuthi ukhulume nathi. I understand vele it's very difficult to open up ukhulume nabantu, but thank you so much for that.
So today we came here with the mission of finding Bali so that we speak to her sister, because that's a relationship that we found was really broken. And we had gotten a journalist to interview Bali and on her situation, because when we spoke to her the last time, she said she was willing to quit the drugs. So we thought it would be very important if we get a journalist to write an article about a drug addict who's now willing to quit drugs and inspire other people.
She's taken time, we've given her some time to think if she actually wants to do it, because I don't have pressure to do anything.
Hello.
Have you
thought about it?
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I did. I'm okay with it.
What was against?
Yeah, I don't think it's different.
That's true.
Then we'll get in touch with the journalist, and then she'll conduct the interview.
No problem.
Bengithi mhlambe ngiyakafune because as ukhuluma nentatheli is very intimate.
The leaders also asked Mbali's sister if she could join them for a reconciliatory meeting, but she never arrived.
Our agreement with Mbali's sister was that we'll meet her at 5 o'clock. We kept calling her. We called her an hour before. We called her 30 minutes before to confirm if she is still coming. She did confirm that she is coming. We waited for her, but unfortunately she didn't pitch up.
All right, now we did say that this season we will see a lot of twists and turns. And now just one of the turns is that our leaders have had to divide themselves into two groups. Now they will continue on in this fashion in where their task is concerned, as well as the debate that will be coming a little later on. Right, Minister, now there is a huge challenge we're facing in terms of there not being enough in-house rehab facilities available for particularly women. How is the department?
Firstly, let me thank the leaders for their engagement with Mbali and Mbali's family, but also say that Mbali's journey reflects a lot of what a lot of our families go through. But what is important for us and what we must take away from this show is for every young person in South Africa to be able to say, Kimoja, no thanks, I'm fine without drugs. As government, our rehabilitation services are also free. So to be able to accommodate more and deal with this, in particular Nyaope, because it's highly addictive.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Now, leadership is as much a group effort as it is an individual effort. So what the leaders didn't know is that today they'll be judged on their task as a team, and they will also later be debating as teams. Now, what will happen is, if Team A gets a low score, it means that all the members in Team A will get a point taken away. If Team B, however, is the successful of the two, a point will be added to each individual. To you at home, this certainly raises the stakes for our candidates. Let's hear what the judges have to say. Maswe Tolo.
Brand SA and One Day Leader have started an initiative aimed at encouraging young people to play their part in making Mzansi great. The initiative salutes and appreciates young people who are making a positive impact in their communities. Moreover, the One Day Leader alumni also encourages young people to play their part.
Every single person should always look at becoming influential, because when you're influential, it goes far beyond just having wealth or having one aspect. Now you can actually positively influence the lives of many people.
Welcome back. You're still watching One Day Leader. As you've seen, we're not only about grooming our own leaders, we also go around the country to see what other leaders are doing in their own communities. This is an initiative by Brand South Africa called Play Your Part. As Tembeke ukuthi ukubona abantu benyakaza benza umehluko emphakathini yabo, yanigqugquzela nani lapha emakhaya ukuthi nisukume nidlale eyenu indima. Now, let's get to the judging of the task. Judges, do you have some questions for our candidates before we get into your verdict? Tebogo?
Well, yes, I do have one question for Group B. My question is why you didn't try to get activities that Mbali could have done within the community, because as I understand, she's unemployed, and therefore, as you know, that an idle mind is the devil's playground. So what are you doing in order to ensure that her mind is not idle, besides just getting a journalist to write her story?
With regards to Mbali, she showed interest in the fashion world. So that was one of our options, to get her either an interview or to shadow someone in the fashion industry. But our focus here with Mbali was her relationships that had been broken, because that was what the task had specified. So we focused on her sister and the broken relationships there. So that's where all our complete focus was. And as you'd see in the task, it got really intense, and we actually touched a nerve.
My question is for Group A, and I'd like to ask you, what specifically do you feel as a team that you did to create an intervention as Group B did with her sister? What we saw was that her daughter is heavily affected, her mother is heavily affected, the people that she lives with at home are heavily affected by her addiction. So our main objective was to sort of solve the problem at home first, and then only can we branch out and help her solve the ones outside home.
All right, thank you very much. Judges, now please, let's hear your verdict. Will it be Team A under the leadership of Ritabile that wins the task, or is it Team B under the leadership of Anisa?
Unanimously, the three of us have all chosen Team B.
Thank you, judges. As you have heard, Team B takes this one. Now, as we said before, the leaders are going to debate as teams. It should be very interesting. We will have one main topic for the debate, which will be debated by our task leaders. Then the other two debates will be subtopics of the main topic, and those will be debated by the other two members of their choice. Things are really about to get heated. This is my favorite part of the show. And remember, you at home will be voting for your teams that you love and support. Our main debate topic today still is, are we as a society doing enough to fight the scourge of Nyaope? Before we kick off our first debate, let's have a look at the rules of engagement.
These are the rules for the One Day Leader debate. You have 30 seconds to state your vision statement. 60 seconds for the opponent to challenge, and 30 seconds to conclude your debate.
Now, our first debate is about to get underway between our team leaders, Ritabile and Anisa. Ritabile from Team A, your 30 seconds starts now. Your opening statement, please.
Media is education. The scourge of Nyaope can be easily fought by government if it prioritizes prime-time television to spread the message of how harmful Nyaope is. We live in a society where on SABC channels we ought to see adverts about funeral policies, legal plans, rather than the discouragement of the use of Nyaope.
Thank you very much. Now you have 60 seconds to challenge each other.
About media being an education system, can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, what we need is, because we saw with last year with the 16 days of activism, we had people that were celebrities that spoke up around the issue, and we had
what happens if the same media?
We had adverts that were sort of publicized around the same time, like prime time. We need prime time television. Sorry?
What happens if the same media is used to promote Nyaope? For example, your soapies that promote
we don't have soapies that promote
that is the media. That is the media.
Okay. What we need to understand is that media has power, and we have to understand that our youth is the kind of youth that now looks at a media perspective.
What is our target market
we have a lot of teenagers that watch TV these days, and that's the kind of people that we need to be addressing. How many billboards have you seen this morning that tell you that discourage you to use Nyaope? How many radio interviews? How many radio adverts have you heard around the idea of education?
That the age group of Nyaope addicts
you watch Generations at 8. Why don't you see an advert
on the street?
All right, time is up, leaders. Ritabile, you now have 30 seconds to conclude.
We have the National Drug Master Plan that was put in place for until 2013 and 2017 that promises job opportunities and to empower drug-stricken areas. What we also need to understand is that government needs to put more emphasis on telling and making the message of discouraging the use of Nyaope in our communities. Well, we need to understand that 15% of our youth have a drug problem, and it is because of this that government needs to be involved, and in terms of media and actually accessing that media.
Your time is up, Ritabile. Anisa, it is your turn. 30 seconds for your opening statement.
A deadly cocktail of heroin, rat poison, cleaning detergent, and at times ARVs. This is Nyaope. My group looked at education, society, government policies. The South African government announced in February that they seek to classify Nyaope as illegal and ratify these drugs. According to SABC Education, the youth from the age groups of 13 to 35 are caught in Nyaope and they steal from their homes. We need to educate our communities that these problems don't start at home or in the streets. Rather, they start behind closed doors in boardrooms. There are higher people besides these Nyaope people.
Thank you very much, Anisa. 60 seconds now, leaders. Tackle the issue.
Again, how are you going to educate these young people in terms of how to combat the use of Nyaope? Because you talk about education, how is that going to be possible?
We incorporate this into the curricula. So if you create an awareness in the curriculum.
Already 20 billion is spent on, from the social development department on curbing the use of substance abuse.
Incorporating into high school curriculum. You create that awareness in these students for them.
We have life orientation. How many kids actually
incorporated
life orientation at school
into life orientation
as a subject that is relevant? How do we make that actually? How do we spread the message further? Anisa, we need recreational activities. Anisa, we need job opportunities for these people. That is how we're going to combat the use of Nyaope in our
job opportunities.
We have to have a government that is involved, that exploits media in terms of actually the same way you guys had an article. That is how we should have people and spreading the message of the discouragement of use of Nyaope.
So that we create an awareness.
Where in our curriculum, which subjects are you going to
life orientation?
How many learners taking
Thank you very much, leaders. Anisa, you have 30 seconds.
Life orientation.
As a society, we teach each other to be afraid of addicts, and we shouldn't. As a society, we teach each other to be afraid of addicts and distance ourselves as opposed to going towards them and helping them. For example, with Mbali's situation, her sister has distanced herself from her instead of going to her sister to assist her. So we need to create these options. We have John, who started Nyaope 8 years ago in grade 12 because he was trying to experiment, but then he got caught up on Nyaope. So it's clear that curiosity did actually kill the cat. And we need to educate these people that quitting is not easy.
Your time is up, Anisa. Thank you very much. Our leaders have indeed spoken. Deboho, your thoughts on the debate, please.
Well, I thought that was a good debate. And, I think, Ritabile, there's a few things you need to work on. You need to listen very carefully to what the other debater is saying. I think you both have great potential, but you need to improve on your listening skills. And for me, Anisa, you took that one.
Deputy Minister, your thoughts on our first debates?
I think, ladies, I agree with Tebogo. The most important thing about debate is also the art of listening. The second one is content. I think both of you tried to get the point across, but one of the most important weapons to fight drugs is to actually not necessarily get caught up on the laws, the government, or the media or this, but to say, as an individual, what is my contribution? And I think for me, that's what I missed. We needed to start with yourselves as leaders, because you are leaders now, to say, this is what I will do, and then these, what government has in place will be the support systems that I can, call on. And I think I would give it to Ritabile, because she understands the power of the media, and she understands that the media can have the wrongs and the rights. So I'll give it to her.
Well, thank you very much to the Deputy Minister. Now, for you at home, the voting lines are officially open and will only be closed on Thursday afternoon. Vote for your favorite leader by SMSing the word leader and their number to 32672. Your votes will be revealed at the top of next week's episode. After the break, we get to the next round of our team debates. Stay with us. One Day Leader, the show that grooms potential leaders to being future leaders. Now, like every other problem that we face as a society today, we're discussing how parents, neighbors, siblings, and the community at large can get together and curb the scourge of drug abuse. Our next debate is between Itumeleng and Lebo. The debate subtopic is, are dysfunctional families the root cause of the addiction? Itumeleng, 30 seconds. Go ahead, represent your team.
It is utterly disingenuous to stand before the nation and proclaim that the society is doing enough to combat the use of drugs in our society, specifically Nyaope. Now, if you look at the consumption in our country, we are actually running 2 times more than the world's known consumption in the world, which means that actually we are suffering and we are running at a loss. Our government is spending approximately 20 billion rands in trying to combat the scourge of Nyaope in our society, but still, we are suffering while we have more African countries that are actually investing less than us, but they're doing better than we do.
You're out of time, Itumeleng. You now have 60 seconds, leaders.
Itumeleng, I just want to start from the beginning here. I think you missed the question. Where in this part would you speak about families being the main cause of where the issue lies?
Okay, now in answering your question, what I'm trying to answer is that the problem lies with the psyche of our people. The psyche, that is what we consider to be the problem. Therefore, it also tantamounts to affecting the families themselves. That is why on the case of Mbali, we had Mbali being a determinant factor as to how the family grows with the parents and the child. And that is affecting the child and affecting the mother. Therefore, it's affecting.
Do you think that within the family there is some sort of core problems in families that is leading to the drug abuse?
Not that. Let me ask you a question. The core problems that we're talking about are core problems where you find parents themselves being people who consume drugs. You find that parents themselves are the ones that are actually using alcohol and many other drugs that are used, and that continues to be something that is used by the children. Also, if you look at other
so what you're saying is that a parent using drugs is the highest cause of a child using drugs.
Exactly.
Okay.
So because
thank you very much, Itumeleng. You now have 30 seconds to conclude.
So because this thing becomes a habit where the parents are using drugs, the child also uses drugs because it's a norm. It's something that is found to be normal in that house. Now, that is why we're saying that the problem lies with the psychology. That is what we need to be addressing. It cannot be that we're still spending above 20 billion rands trying to combat the scourge of Nyaope, whereas our actual problem is with the psychology. We need to have community forums where we actually sit and discuss these issues. The justice system needs to come with Imbizo, where we can sit together and discuss these issues.
Thank you very much. Itumeleng, Lebo, it is now your turn. Your opening vision statement, please.
In just 1 year, the percentage of Nyaope users has doubled in SA, and the market is specifically within the township areas. So now if we look at the families within township areas, we need to look at the core problems behind the economical problems, behind what they really do on a recreational basis from home as a core basis. And I think the issue here is that many families tend to not only not be involved when someone is inside the drug problem, but they shun the user, they neglect them, they leave them out. That's a problem because in most cases...
Thank you very much. 60 seconds to debate.
You cannot be saying that the families neglect people that are using drugs. The families are actually the ones that stand up.
I speak from experience. I have a cousin who's a user, and I know what it is like for families to shun you out because you're not.
Let me answer a question. Relax.
No.
I haven't asked you a question. What are you answering?
Oh, wow.
Mbali's mother didn't go and report Mbali to the police. However, what she did was that she found the nearest rehabilitation center where she sent Mbali.
That is not the whole purpose of what I'm saying here.
You're talking about neglecting. What are you talking about?
What about her sister?
We're
talking about her relationship.
We're talking about the
what do
parents.
you mean with sister? She has an issue with a broken relationship with her sister. That's the core issue that was part of our task here.
So you can't say Mbali's sister is neglecting Mbali.
Yes, I can stand firm and say she is because she said she is.
That is why
her sister has shunned her out since she became a Nyaope addict.
That is why the purpose of the task was to mend the relationship, which means that these people are not neglecting each other. If they were neglecting each other,
if you had spoken to her about her sister, you would have known
to make sure that they build the family into
Thank you very much, Lebo. Please conclude. You have 30 seconds.
I think the core issue here is just trying to find ways in which families can not only be involved in sort of tackling bringing in the drug, but in some way sort of tackling what happens thereafter. It's one thing to rehabilitate, but when you come back home and you fall back into relapsing again, what then happens? We need to find issues within the, or sort of solutions within the family base, and then again within societal basis, in terms of finding something for them to do on a recreational basis to get their minds off of that drug itself. You can become a recovery.
Your time is up. Thank you very much, leaders. Now, judges. If you're not loving these debates, I don't know what's wrong with you. Judges, I've seen you laughing. Teboga, I've seen your face crease from concern. Your thoughts, please.
Well, Itumeleng, I think your delivery is very passionate and it's very good. But Lebo really embarrassed you because she totally destroyed your entire argument by asking you, what are you talking about? Because that had nothing to do with the debate. So you missed the topic at the beginning. She brought you back in, and then she destroyed you. So I think it shouldn't break your confidence. I like your energy. But now I want you to start focusing on the topic, and you'll start seeing some more progress.
After an exciting and mouth-watering debate, it is time for us to get into the final debate. The subtopic is: should rehabilitation for Nyaope drug users start within their homes as opposed to external rehabilitation? For this final round of debate, we have from Team A under Ritabile's leadership, Sydney, and from Team B under Anissa's leadership, we have Sakile. Represent your team, Sydney. You have 30 seconds.
Rehabilitation needs to start within the home, because if it does not, it will be virtually impossible for families to be able to give support to their children. Now, we have developed two measures in how we can do this. Then one way in which we can give support to drug users and drug addicts within respective families is one by ensuring that we channel our media influence into the right passages. And secondly, it's by destigmatizing drug usage within families by decriminalizing Nyaope, because there's not a single parent in South Africa that will walk to a police station to arrest their own child.
60 seconds to take on the challenge.
So Sydney, I want to ask you, if you start this rehabilitation activity at home, what happens to families like Mbali's who are a bit dysfunctional, who are unable to cope with trying to resolve the problem at home?
If I may answer your question, families like the family of Mbali, when my team and I were communicating with the child was virtually in tears, crying that she cannot even express to her own teachers that her mother, let me answer, that her mother is on Nyaope. So because the child is not confident in going to the teachers, is it not best to start mending that relationship within the household?
How do they do that? She just told you she can't express how angry she is. Let me ask the question.
Yes, I already get the gist of your question,
How does she begin to try and mend that relationship? It needs external intervention.
Now, her mother, being Mbali, also expressed to us that because she could not take using Nyaope anymore, because she could not take having the craving anymore, she had to virtually.
What about financing?
She had to virtually give me a chance.
Sure.
She had to virtually swallow pills
All right,
and attempt to commit suicide.
Your time is up, Sydney. 30 seconds for your conclusion.
We can empower our families by virtually investing in the users that are within our respective households. If 20 billion rands is being used by the state to advertise on drug usage and to really get communities geared up, why can't it be that if I'm a Nyaope addict, I can go onto Twitter and see a hashtag Nyaope must fall? Why can't I be motivated by that simple hashtag to go out into the community and change my life? And finally, How can we see to it that our families do
All
not
right, there's not enough time,
stigmatize?
Sydney. Sakile, your opening statement, 30 seconds.
Ritabile tells us about the media. Dumileng tells us that the parents are drug addicts. And then Sydney comes back and tells us that these very parents are the ones that should solve the problems if their children are drug addicts. This is problematic logic as a team as a whole, right? What we tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that a practical policy on government level exists. The government is there to help use the government. We need to change communities' outsets and views that the government can't do this, they need to do. The government is there, the structures exist, ladies and gentlemen. We think external intervention is needed.
Thank you very much, Sakile. You have 60 seconds to debate the topic.
If the government is there, and Nyaope has been such a problem for so many years in South Africa, going all the way from Pretoria right down to Durban, why is it that the National Master Plan, as introduced by the Department of Social Development, is only being introduced to be in effect by 2017? Where was government in all of these years?
The current status quo still provides for intervention, even though...
But is the current status quo working? Is it not best to meditate from the home?
The current status quo still provides for people to attain assistance from the government, right? That still exists as a structure there.
But the government just says that it doesn't have enough resources to assist each and every single person.
So then how do those resources automatically appear from a
We do not
home
need
ground?
resources. We need rehabilitation to start within the household.
Rehabilitation facilities are already there. We're telling you that you just need to use
You are speaking facilities. I'm speaking about rehabilitation taking place from the household.
Sydney, that's not what the debate is about. The debate is about if
All
you need
right,
external
your
or
60
internal
seconds are up.
help.
Sakile, 30 seconds to conclude, please.
I have a friend who, as kids, we talked about becoming architects and engineers, but because he was on Iwunga, right now he's in jail. This is a problem, ladies and gentlemen, because even if he goes back home, his family doesn't recognize him, they shun him out, and this is the problem we have in our society. We think external intervention is good enough intervention to help families understand that Nyaope addiction is not a weakness, it's not you being crazy, but it is rather a sickness and needs to be treated as such with that kind of sensitivity.
All right,
Until
thank you
then,
very much,
we won't get
Sakile. Your
change.
30 seconds are up. Deputy Minister, another heated debate, varying views being brought to the table. Your take?
Thank you very much. I think the team's tried. It's important for me to say to Team A, well done. But the only problem is that you see, when you want to use the media, you also need to use it strategically. You defended it very well at the beginning when Retabile started, because it is an important instrument, it's an important tool, and young people do follow. But when the question comes to say, what are the interventions of the family? What are the interventions of, how do we strengthen and support families? You can't say a drug addict must tweet. You can't be saying a drug addict, because then you're losing it completely. We need to strengthen the families. And I want to say to Group B, well done. What is important is that you tried and you understand that if you don't have the support of the family, and that is why as part of our program at Social Development, we have positive parenting programs, we have strengthening families as part of the package in terms of the interventions on drugs, because we understand that when the family like Mbali's is at each other and Mbali does not have the necessary support, and we also understand that drugs, it's a lifelong disease. You are in recovery, you need the support, and I want to say really, you did very well, and you understood what is important as leaders is to now bring it home and say, what is my role? And a strengthened family remains the first defense in any social intervention plan.
All right, Mzansi, some powerful words there. Remember, you at home can vote for your favorite leader. Simply SMS the word leader and the number to our SMS line 32672. Manje Masbuye Dolo, we find out how our judges voted, as well as who the studio audience voted for as their favorite team. Hlala nathi. Welcome back to One Day Leader. Now we're getting into the final segment of our show. So if you've just joined us, you've missed out on plenty, but you're just in time to find out which team the judges voted for as their winning team. Was it Team A under the leadership of Rithabile, or was it Team B under the leadership of Anisa? Judges, before we ask you to reveal the team that you voted for as the winning team, your final words to our debaters.
I think it's really important to say that I think this team, Team B, has really worked as a team. You've used each individual member's strengths and you've really come out shining in each of the debates.
I think I need to congratulate you as leaders, and that all of you have given your best. To Team B, well done. But it also showed that when you actually have the experience, because drug addiction goes with exposure and experience, that came forth. You have the knowledge, you have the reality, and indeed you also brought the facts and your personal experience. And myself, when I make decisions as a deputy minister, where I come from, how I was raised, always, and what I'm exposed to in my personal life always comes into the fore in how I interact. So use your personal experience, your friends, your family, your neighbor. What you see should also inform how you engage. So Team B, you've got it.
Thank you once again to our judges and the audience who have voted for the winning team. And it seems that the vote is unanimous. Both the audience and our judges saw this play out in the same way. Team B, congratulations to you. Well done to our winning team, and thanks to our leaders, our judges, our audience, and to you at home for joining us for this episode. We'll be discussing whether the way in which we handle issues of racism actually prevent us from moving forward as a nation. To our Deputy Minister, siyasibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho, all protocol observed. And then to our regular leaders, nje. Thank you very much, Catherine, and to you, Deboho. Now, I'll leave you with the words of Carl Bard. Though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. From myself, Upal Shongwe, Umtimanzo Bambolunye, Mageza Ngelvise Mantashleti, and the rest of the One Day Leader team, I